Hey, it's Organic A to Z. I'm your host, Gregory Schaefer. Today we're asking the question, why? Why aren't there more foods that start with the letter Y? I don't know. But there's yeast. Gonna play with that today. It's all around us. There is yeast floating in the air, naturally forming native yeasts. There's tons of different yeasts out there, and yes, it is really all around us. It's on our fruits and veggies, it's on our fingernails. Let's not worry about that stuff. It is fascinating though, this native free-forming yeast. And a lot of bakers and a lot of winemakers are experts at catching that and using that in the fermentation process. But we're gonna worry about yeast that we have control over. And here's some cool things. This is nutritional yeast, also known as brewer's yeast. It's a flaked form, byproduct of the beer making process. Great nutritional supplement, wonderful for the stomach, and really tasty on popcorn. Over here, I have yeast extract. Now this is a spread very popular in the UK and especially in Australia. It is like their peanut butter. My mother, she was Australian, raised me on this stuff. Very potent. If you've never had it before, be careful. Tread lightly. A tiny bit of this on toast with a lot of butter. Oh, so good. Very, very salty, loaded with vitamin E. But the yeast we're going to play with today is the one that most of us know and love. Why, it's none other than Saccharomyces cerevisiae. Yes, active dry yeast. There's also instant dry yeast, but that's not so much fun. This stuff is gonna make delicious tasting breads. And what are we gonna do with it today? Pizza! So the first thing I'm gonna do is proof the yeast. Prove to you that it's viable, it's still active. So I've got 2 1/4 teaspoons of active dry yeast. That is 1 packet's worth. You know, it usually comes in little packets. And then I've got 3/4 of a cup of tepid water. It's about 110 degrees. Add that together. It starts to dissolve the yeast, and I'm going to add to that some honey. That's about a teaspoon of honey. I'm just going to stir that up with my hand to sort of get the yeast dissolved a little bit. But it's going to take care of itself. And we're just going to let that sit for about 10 minutes. Okay, so the yeast has proofed. You can see it. It's nice and foamy. Very cool. We're going to add that to the bowl. Got a nice big ceramic bowl here. And we're going to start making our dough. Now this is a whole wheat white flour. And I'm only going to be adding a 1/2 cup at a time. Use your fingers and get in there. Rah! Blend it up. Now you could do this in a food processor if you wanted to, but I like to get my hands into my dough. I really want to feel it. Making bread is fun. Okay, so another 1/2 cup and blend it up again. I'm going to do one more. Now that makes 1 1/2 cups of flour. Now we've got a nice, moist, wet dough. I think I'm going to add about 1/4 cup. Blend that in there. Okay, and I'm going to add a little bit of fat and salt. Okay, that is a tablespoon of salt. And just mix that in there, and I'm going to add about a tablespoon of olive oil. Maybe a little bit more. That's okay. Bring it together, and now it's time to do a little kneading and get to work. Look at how nice and soft and easy this is to do. And this is feeling a little bit wet. It's really, really quite soft. So I'm just going to add a little bit of the flour and bring it in. And it's just going to work its way in there. This is pizza dough. Okay, so there we go. We've got our nice dough. We're going to put it back in the bowl, and we're going to give it a little bit more olive oil. Just massage it on there, roll it around. So we got a layer of plastic wrap, like that. And I've got a damp towel, like that. And now you just need to put that in a draft-free area, warmish, maybe 75 degrees or warmer. Let it sit for about an hour. It's going to rise. Then we're going to make pizza. Aha! It has more than doubled in size, looking good. So now you can punch it down. Very soft. It is very warm. The yeast is active. So I'm going to break this in half. I think this is good for 2 smallish pizzas. And again, you're just gonna sort of shape it out onto some flour there. And this is so soft, you really don't need to roll it with the rolling pin, but you could if need be. There's something so gratifying about making your own pizzas, making your own dough. It just feels wonderful. It connects you to the earth. It's really easy. It's really fun. And this doesn't cost a thing. My God, this is dirt cheap. Okay, looking pretty good to me. So, I am gonna take this baby, put it onto my pizza paddle, which is just a simple piece of wood, great for sliding the dough in and out of the oven. And let's be non-conventional. Let's make a fruit pie. This is a great idea. So we're gonna start with a little bit of olive oil on the dough and a little cracked black pepper. All right, c'est bon. And I have a pear, which I've just sliced up. Delicious pear. So we're just gonna add some slices of pear all around the pie. And what would go with pear better than some arugula, walnuts, blue cheese? I'm gonna add a little goat cheese to this because somebody on the crew is not a fan of the blue. All right, so let's get that baby in the oven and I'll come back in just a second. We'll make a more traditional pizza. So I've got the dough and I put on that a little bit of buffalo mozzarella. Yep, good stuff. Tomatoes, basil torn up, little olive oil, salt and pepper. This one's good to go. So let's pop this baby in the oven. Fruit pie's in the oven. Be back in 1 second. Okay, there we go. Pizza margherita and my very own pear blue cheese walnut pizza. This is Organic A to Z. I am Gregory Schaefer. I am so stoked that today we got yeasty and had some organic fun. Thank you for watching. Make some pizza or some bread by yourself. See you next time.